you would look out the window or run outside to see how close it was. It was a constant feature of life. We felt we were relatively safe.
Jad 935
because we thought it's unlikely there'll be a direct strike
Jad 935 is
but
now
for those
live.
1.3, 1.4
Streaming
million
League of
people,
Legends. PP.
in that green zone, they were constantly being bombed, day and night. And what I think I found particularly disturbing was that a bomb would drop maybe on a crowded, tented area, and then the drones would come down and...
Please take your time. We're incredibly grateful that you're making the time to be here today, and I can only imagine just how it has impacted you and will continue to impact you. And I feel, because you can't unsee what you've seen, but being able to share that with us really helps us hold legislators particularly to account. So we do appreciate the time that you're making for us today. Thank you.
So the drones would come down and pick off civilians, children, and we had description after description. This is not, an occasional thing. This was day after day after day, operating on children who would say, I was lying on the ground after a bomb had dropped, and this quadcopter came down and hovered over me and shot me. And that's clearly a deliberate act, and it was a persistent act, persistent targeting of civilians day after day. We had 1 or 2 mass casualty incidents every day, and that meant 10 to 20 dead, 20 to 40 seriously injured. Now, a hospital like Guy's, where I used to work, Guy's and St Thomas's, might get 1 or 2 a year. We had 1 or 2 a day. And 60 to 70% of the people we treated were women and children.
I'm sorry to do this, draw you a little. You say children. I wonder if you could tell us sort of the ages of the children. And you say that they said that they were lying on the ground from a bomb shock. Do you believe them?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, a 7-year-old's not going to make up a story.
We're talking little children,
yeah.
not late teens.
Well, from the majority of the children who were casualties were young children, but we had casualties in their teens, we had women in their 30s, and it was a very consistent story. And the story would be given as soon as they came into the emergency department. So I have absolutely no reason to doubt this. And the bullets that the drones fire are these small cuboid pellets. And I fished a number of those out of the abdomen of small children. I think the youngest I operated on was a 3-year-old who had a major injury to the artery in her neck. And we used the last shunt, which is a device you use to bypass the artery in the neck to keep supplying blood to the brain. We used the last one in the hospital because those kinds of things are just not available. She died about 3 or 4 days later from infection.
You believe it was deliberate targeting?
Absolutely no question in my mind, and it's been the experience of so many healthcare workers who've documented it time and time and time again. But my personal experience and those of my colleagues was this was clearly persistent, deliberate targeting of civilians. And I've worked in a number of conflict zones in different parts of the world. I was there at the time of the Rwandan genocide. I've never seen anything on this scale, ever, and that was also the view of all the experienced colleagues that I worked with. One of the surgeons in my team had been to Ukraine 5 times and said, this is 10 times worse. Normally in a conflict zone, you would have a front line, you'd have fighting going on between 2 sets of forces, and you might get some civilians injured in that. in that exchange. There doesn't seem to be a front line. There just seems to be 1.4 million people trapped. They can't leave, and having bombs dropped on them on a daily basis, and then drones coming in and shooting them. And there's plenty of evidence out there from Israeli soldiers that that's what's going on. But we saw it, we saw the results of it.
energy of Shurima still flows. My decree is made. Onward! Eventually, the sands legacy will endure.
Yumi? Really? The nerfed Riftmaker, bro?
I will be reborn. The order is given. Fountain of Shurima still flows. Like the sun, Shurima always rises.
We should try being friends first. No? God, hear me.
Slumbering words must recognize your emperor.
Bruh. What a shit match.
Why, when you were in the United States last week, did you not publicly condemn the United States in front of the world for giving the weapons to Israel to commit these genocidal atrocities? Why don't you now tell them that the US military are not welcome in Shannon Airport while they are on genocide to commit these atrocities? Chuck, the images of people burning alive at Alaska Hospital and in a tent camp beside that hospital are possibly the most horrific, terrifying images of this horrific year of genocide by Israel against the people of Gaza. I suspect those images will probably be the lasting image in people's minds of the utter horror that Israel is inflicting on the people of Gaza, burning people alive in hospitals, in ICU beds, in tents, innocent people, like Shaban al-Jalou.
How do you voice over a kiss?
Classic back the hand.
We've all been there.
You know, it did feel like this moment that like no one was supposed to be witnessing.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, this.
On Sunday, killed 22 people in a school in Nasurat.
You mean?
And 80 teachers in a school, repeatedly bombed the school. Over the weekend, there's evidence that Israel has been using white phosphorus, chemical weapons, in an area where innocent Lebanese people live and where the UN peacekeepers are present. They have threatened Irish troops. They have attacked UN UN bases. There's simply no atrocity Israel isn't willing to commit, and we're seeing this in front of our eyes. Now, the thing is, Tisha, that most likely the white phosphorus, the bombs that burn people alive in Gaza, the weapons that are being deployed to murder people in Gaza and now in Lebanon came from the United States. And some of them, and very possibly some of those that were used in these horrific atrocities and to commit this genocide went through Irish airspace. And yet your government has done nothing to stop that. The Ditch reports that over the weekend, since the Israeli army pointed their tanks at our troops, 2 more flights have gone through Irish airspace carrying munitions to Israel to carry out their genocidal atrocities against the people of Gaza, and still you let it happen and do nothing about it. There were thousands of people, I was one of them, in Shannon Airport at the weekend, saying, why don't you stop this? And that you are complicit as long as you allow it to happen, and that you allow the US military to use Shannon, who are up to their necks in arming and supporting and giving succor to the crimes that Israel has committed. Why, when you were in the United States last week, did you not publicly condemn the United States in front of the world for giving the weapons to Israel to commit these genocidal atrocities? Why don't you now tell them that the US military are not welcome in Shannon Airport while they are arming a genocide to commit these atrocities? What are you going to do to stop munitions going to commit these atrocities and these massacres and these crimes going through Irish airspace? What are you going to do to stop the Irish bank facilitating the sale of Israeli war bonds to finance the genocidal massacre that has been committed? You're speaking out of both sides of your mouth unless you do something on those issues, Taoiseach.
If we could measure empathy and compassion in decibels, I think we win, and you would. But the reality is you don't have a monopoly in terms of your concern for the people of Palestine. You certainly don't have a monopoly in terms of your concern for our peacekeeping troops. Something I'm updated on several times a day. We're in constant contact with our peacekeepers, and keeping them safe is the number 1 priority of this government, the number 1 priority of the United Nations. And we work on it on a round-the-clock basis. Can I just make one point more broadly in relation, not in relation to anything Deputy Boy Barrett said specifically, but in relation to the broader issue of being able to differentiate between the people of Israel and the policies pursued by the government of Netanyahu and many people who live in this country, people of the Jewish faith as well. I just think at a time of heightened concern, including from government condemnation of the actions of the Israeli government, I just do want to differentiate very clearly and let those people know that I can differentiate very clearly between the people of Israel and between the actions of the Netanyahu and the Netanyahu government. This is a government that's acting, Deputy Boy Barrett. By any fair measure, it's acting. And I find it so peculiar that it's only when I engage with you that you suggest inaction. When I sit down with the Palestinian president, he thanks me for the actions we're taking on behalf of the Irish people. When I sit down with the Palestinian Prime Minister, he thanks me for the actions we're taking. When I spoke with the Prime Minister... Sorry, but I'm answering the charge. I'm answering the charge that you put on a constant basis. The charge that you put, shout, and roar. While you're shouting and roaring, while you're shouting and roaring, we're acting. And the President of Palestine knows it. The Ambassador, now the cacophony. We did let the Taoiseach respond. No, I'll answer the question exactly, but I'll answer them as I see fit.
There was nobody over here shouting when you were speaking. So please, the courtesy.
I'm not going to counter accept the charge that this government is not taking action in relation to calling out breaches of international law, standing up for human rights, supporting the people of Palestine, recognising the state of Palestine, and supporting our peacekeepers. And quite frankly, I find it stomach-turning to hear you suggest that we don't do that, because that's absolutely what we do, and we're taking more actions. And I made very clear in the constructive contribution from Deputy Bastian, the steps that we now intend to take in working with the opposition to see if we can do more in relation to trade and the occupied territories. In relation to the issue regarding munitions, also, by the way, you also seem to have this view as to what I did and didn't say in the United States. I mean, I didn't look left and right, but I didn't see you beside me. I spoke to the President of the United States for about 58 minutes. I know exactly what I spoke to the President of the United States about. The President of the United States knows exactly what Ireland views in relation to this. All levers and all exposure should be used, and all countries should not provide weapons to Israel.
you ask
I
him
made
to
it.
stop sending weapons? Answer the question. You've been dodging the lead.
Deputy. All right, I'd love to answer. I'd love to answer.
Sure, sorry.
Sorry.
There's no role in asking any questions. The leader of your group is asking a question. And do your leader, as well as everybody else, the courtesy of listening to the reply.
The answer's very clear. People over there voted in this house last week to suggest I shouldn't go to the United States of America. They now want to critique what I said in the United States of America. If it was up to you, I wouldn't have been able to have a conversation. I made the point to President Biden that I make in public and private all countries should use all levers to bring about a ceasefire, and that includes the issue of weapons. I made that very clear. In relation to munitions, we're very clear as to what can and can't happen over Irish airspace, and it's expressly prohibited for civilian aircraft to carry munitions of war in Irish sovereign territory without being granted exemptions to do so by the Minister for Transport, and no such exemptions have been granted.
In November, we brought a motion in here calling on you to instigate action for genocide against Israel. You voted against it. In October of last year, we brought a motion in here asking you to put in sanctions on Israel as they commenced that genocide. You voted against it. Before any of this started, we asked you to publicly support the demands of Amnesty International in calling for targeted sanctions against Israel for illegal occupation and apartheid. You refused to do it. You've been dragged kicking and screaming all the way. You've blocked the Occupied Territories Bill since 2018. And now, because there are tens of thousands